Russia is not collapsing, but it is running out of good choices. For nearly 4 years, the Kremlin has pursued victory in Ukraine through multiple battlefield strategies. Some have failed outright. Others have become prohibitively expensive. What remains is a narrowing set of options, each carrying higher costs and diminishing returns. This is not a story of inevitable defeat. It is a story of strategic constraint, and understanding what Russia can and cannot do matters more than ever. When Russia launched its full-scale invasion in February 2022,
мною принято решение о проведении специальной военной операции.
The Kremlin employed several distinct approaches. The initial strategy was rapid mechanized advance. Armored columns pushed toward Kyiv, Kharkiv, and other major cities with the goal of quick capitulation. When that failed, Russia pivoted to attritional pressure, grinding through Ukrainian positions with artillery superiority and infantry waves. Russia also maintained a long-range strike campaign using missiles and drones to target infrastructure and population centers. The logic was straightforward: degrade Ukraine's economy, break civilian morale, and force political concessions. Throughout, the Kremlin counted on 3 assumptions: that Russian manpower reserves would outlast Ukraine's, that Soviet-era equipment stockpiles would sustain operations indefinitely, and that Western support would eventually falter. According to ISW, Putin's theory of victory remains predicated on the assumption that Russia can outlast Western support for Ukraine and Ukraine's ability to resist, but the battlefield has not cooperated with these assumptions. The option of large-scale mechanized warfare has effectively disappeared. According to ISW's December 2025 assessment, Ukraine's drone-based defenses have denied Russian forces the ability to conduct mechanized maneuver at the scale necessary for operational-level advances. Armored vehicles are now liabilities rather than assets in many sectors. Russian forces have been reduced to grinding attritional infantry missions. Equipment losses have been staggering. The Kyiv Independent reported in January 2025 that Russia has lost more than half of its available equipment since the invasion began. Citing analysis by The Insider, they noted that combat-ready vehicles remaining include approximately 2,000 tanks, 2,000 infantry fighting vehicles, and 3,000 armored personnel carriers. The Kyiv School of Economics found that shipments from Russia's primary storage fields have fallen from a peak of 242,000 tons in 2022 to a projected 119,000 tons in 2025. Manpower is increasingly strained. According to a joint investigation by BBC Russia and Mediazona, over 156,000 Russian soldiers have been confirmed as casualties on the battlefield, though both organizations believe their verified figures represent only about half of the actual death toll. CSIS estimated in January 2026 that total Russian casualties may exceed 1.2 million, including up to 325,000 killed. ISW assessed in December 2025 that Russia's near exhaustion of voluntary recruitment is forcing the Kremlin to consider mobilizing elements of its strategic reserve to sustain operations. Russia still has options, but each involves significant trade-offs. Continued attrition remains the primary approach. The Kremlin is recruiting roughly 30,000 contract soldiers per month, according to CSIS, approximately matching its battlefield attrition rate. The Kyiv Independent reported that Russia recruited approximately 280,000 contract soldiers through September 2025 and aims for over 400,000 in 2026. But this is expensive. According to CSIS, the average sign-on bonus for volunteers has risen from 1.5 million rubles earlier in 2025 to approximately 2 million rubles and is expected to reach 2.5 million by year's end. Russia can pursue defensive consolidation, holding current positions while husbanding resources. However, this contradicts the Kremlin's stated objectives of seizing all of Donetsk Oblast and forcing Ukrainian capitulation. Limited offensives remain possible. According to ISW, Russian forces have gained approximately 0.77% of Ukrainian territory since the start of 2025, while suffering disproportionately high personnel costs. CSIS noted that Russian forces have advanced at an average rate of between 15 and 70 meters per day in their most prominent offensives, slower than almost any major campaign in the last century. The strike campaign continues. According to the Hudson Institute, Russia launched over 5,000 Shahed-type drones per month at Ukrainian targets in the second half of 2025, double its 2024 tempo. This degrades Ukrainian infrastructure but does not translate into territorial control. Russia is not out of options, but its range of viable choices has narrowed considerably. Large-scale mechanized breakthroughs appear beyond current capabilities, equipment reserves are depleting, recruitment costs are escalating, and each incremental gain comes at a price that compounds over time. ISW assessed that it would likely take Russia at least 2 to 3 years of difficult and costly battles to militarily seize the rest of Donetsk Oblast at the current tempo. The Kremlin continues to bet on outlasting Ukraine and its Western supporters. Whether that bet pays off depends on factors beyond the battlefield: political will in Washington and European capitals, Ukraine's own capacity to sustain its defense, and whether Russia's economy can absorb the mounting costs. What is clear is that the easy options are gone. What remains is hard, expensive, and uncertain.